night at the casino the other night. Oh, but you won both of those hands against the same guy, too. One poor guy.
Double full house on the turn and flop. Must have been real mad, but I was glad. Africa, in the meantime, they're just looking for something cheeky in the early game, stacking in the brush, thinking that maybe there was an invade for the Raptor camp, and we have seen teams take advantage of that earlier today. I believe it was H2K waiting in that same spot on blue side, saw the rise coming in from Rockat, and got taken out with a flash Braum. So a dangerous place. Teams are catching on to the patterns that both top laners, junglers, and mid laners are trying to achieve in denying and slowing down the jungler. So it's always important in League to not stick to a pattern and make yourself exploitable.
Well, regardless of the pattern, they do get the wards down over here at the Raptors. They do see Peanut starting this.
Look at this. This is beautiful. They're helping him out. What a dream. Wow. What an amazing leash for Peanut there. And he's going to hit level 2, and it looks like he's going to go for a level 2 invade.
He skipped the big Raptor, and they saw it with the ward, so they know what's going on here.
They know, but they don't know entirely what he's up to, so he just went right back around it. He could have gone for the invade. I believe you were right. They pointed out, okay, you've been spotted anyway, so it was a great ward on the Raptor camp. And had the intention been to invade, it would have made sense to skip the Raptor camp because you would not have hit level 3 on that. So instead, they'll just continue to jungle, and still a little bit faster than Spirit, but a cool interaction to see that. We might see teams try that out in the future and make full advantage of an early jungler like Lee Sin.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the bottom lane for SKT missed all that much. Even on CS right now are both of the 80 carries. But it looks like Tom Kent was able to pick up 3 with the shield.
Looking at this mid lane, the one thing about Malzahar's Voidlings is now that they die really quickly. The punch from Galio is enough to take him down. Most abilities can make quick work of them, and yep, there it is. One died right away.
Oh, the cannon.
Yep, they're so fragile.
Yeah, especially against the Galio. He's going to be spamming a bunch of his abilities and also that passive that you mentioned.
Meantime, it looks like Huni has created a bit of an advantage in the top side. Peanut is gesturing towards that side of the map, but there is no kill pressure between Malzahar and Elise in the mid lane, at least not this early on. And once Magic really starts coming out, this lane will not be that impressive for the Freaks of Isen. So Spirit looks like he's moving to the bottom side while Peanut mimics top side.
You could see that Peanut, he cleared out everything except his Krugs. Went over to the left side, did Wolves, Blue, Gromp. Went over to Scuttle Crab, so really just a full clear. It looks like Spirit did something very similar.
Wow, and what a bold move by him. They're purchasing a Dark Seal, so he's trying to have a lot of action, but so far from this early game, the laners are playing safe. There's not a whole lot of kill pressure anywhere, and it seems like the purchase, while it does help your regeneration with your potion, you obviously want to be getting those stacks going, and I'm not so sure if he's been having the games that warrant going with such a snowball item.
Well, you were talking about the pressure in the top side, and Spirit immediately goes up there with the control ward, denies vision, and you can see that Huni was eating a bit of damage early on in that lane, and definitely going to make things a little bit scary for him up there.
It's going to be under sight once again. The wards that were saved from Peanut early on are paying dividends now. He will be looking for those Raptor camps, but Faker shouldn't be afraid of the mid lane. Without level 6 on Kuro and Elise not being so strong to take down these heavy magic damage tanks, aka Galio, and what was known as the remains of Maokai, you will have no issues with staying overextended in this lane and not giving too much respect to what Elise can do.
Taking a look at this spot lane, you were talking about just how well they would be able to push. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, but Kramer is definitely keeping up nearly exactly with the CS of Fang, so it seems like they're not too concerned with that right now. And actually, Spirit's making his way down. There's no ward here. Let's see if they can make something happen.
I think SKT is aware that something is up. but Elise is going behind. Now that Tucson is moving up. Yep, here it comes.
Now they know the exhaust comes down. Can he land that cocoon? They're looking for it. They're waiting, trying to bait it out. The exhaust, though, onto Spirit will be enough to save Bang's life. Now they're trying to push it back. Tucson will get away, and that will be a failed gank in the bot lane.
And SKT read the lane out so well. If you notice the way that Tucson was playing before, just really far back, not quite in range of hitting that tongue lick, but the second he moves up, SKT sniff it out. They know Peanut is not on their side. Both junglers have been mirroring each other for the past 5 minutes, and as such, they think something is up. They back off intelligently, and while they do lose 3 summoners, the time commitment means that now Peanut can move to the bottom side of the map, provide backup, and no gank attempt will come back in this lane without their jungler being there to help them out.
Also notice that the second they see Elise down in bot lane, Faker immediately goes into the red side jungle of the red team and puts down a control ward and just a regular ward. So they have full vision there. And I do love that, excuse me, that control ward spot is really good. Often doesn't get scouted out. Here comes Peanut into the bottom lane.
There's Galio ultimate available. Here comes a 5-man.
Oh, here we go again. This is what we see all the time. The miscue, though, from Peanut. Will it matter, though? Here comes Huni, the TP in from Marin, and they're not really making anything happen. A canceled TP, rather. Kuro is making his way down, but that's going to be 0 kills down the bot lane.
What a botched attempt there from SKT. I love the idea, though. They see the timing, they know what the tools they have, but unfortunately, as soon as Peanut's Q misses, they're hesitant in the engage. They don't have quite the damage to commit to it, and the dive is completely botched, and now Africa gets a bit of breathing room. They unfortunately did use their own TP, and we'll take another look right there. Here it comes. They're both low, no mana, while they still have most of summoners. Peanut's trying to set everything up, but it's his initial Q that misses that really thwarts the entire attempt.
Yeah, and after that comes in, he tanks a bit of tower damage, 2 shots, so he's already at half health. Huni misses as well. Faker comes in, and he's all alone. He has to back off. No mana either for Bang and Wolf, so they couldn't really follow up.
I get the feeling teams are letting Gallia and Zach go through because they've lost faith in teams being able to play them effectively. That's what we saw Africa do to Rocks Tigers, where they let Mighty Bear play Zach, and he essentially ended up throwing the game. And then you have this time around where Gallia, even though Faker has shown it, it seems like the ability for going for these dives is still not quite there, as the mechanical prowess of the champion, while it is not very high skills of a skill ceiling, it still requires enough coordination for everybody to be on their game.
Yeah, very true. And it's also interesting that you mentioned the patterns, because when you see the Galio mid on blue side, you just know that that's coming once Galio hits 6. So if you know that it's coming 100%, you can prepare for it 100%. I'm no doubt these teams have come up with ideas and scrims about how to prepare against something like that.
And that's a great point too, the preparation, because if you're SKT and you're reviewing that, right, that will be a critical point for you to look at the game. You'll see the dive, but you won't change much about it. You'll know, okay, our execution was poor, but the vision there was excellent for this dive. And Peanut's hoping for a counter gank to wait in the brush, and while Elise does have mobility boots, there is a chance of this. But back on this setup, the vision that SKT had was perfect. There were control wards in the river. Galio wasn't really spotted, while they could sniff it out from him being Mia. Lee Sin was also not spotted. It was off the back of a failed gank, so you know they were low. And as such, the entire play, the orchestration around it was great.
Oh, look at this. Going on in is the Camille, trying to get out there with the Cataclysm. Now going to turn it around here onto Peanut, who's forced to run away after the cocoon does land. Oh, he's going in.
There's Justice. There it is. There's Galio.
Okay, comes on in, but good read by Africa to just back off in time. And Kuro's coming up here. He is 6. Gonna lock down Faker into the cocoon. This might be our first kill of the game. First blood does go over to Marin. And there's more where that's coming from. The flag and drag. That's going to be 2 kills now going over to Africa as Huni sticks around. And wow, they turned that one around real fast.
Yeah, SKT read there was action coming into the top side. That's why initially Lee Sin was gesturing towards that side of the map, but the roam from Malzahar, he came straight from the lane, and look at his purchase. Straight with boots. He doesn't have teleport, so he can't match the speed at which Galio can rotate, but this is the best he can do. Going with tier 2 boots early on will allow him to make these moves, and as such, he picks up 2 assists, and now Africa with a gold lead.
Well, I said it before these games started. Afrika is kind of on a roll, 4 games in a row, winning the first game of the series. But you know, we've seen SKT get behind before. We'll see if they can actually execute after this. We're going to take another look at the replay and how this all goes down.
And this was well played by Marin. As soon as they come out, he walks away, playing on the outside, and I believe he dodged the kick with his Cataclysm, or at least dodged the initial interaction, so the kick still remains, and he knows there's Galio to come in, but look at Malzahar coming through the middle of the lane, so he didn't come through the lane straight from River, but there is no sight of him, and he gets greedy, thinking of maybe throwing for a flash onto Marin, but as soon as he gets here, there's no chance of a counterplay, and here's Huni where he just misses that stun on the very edge. The hook wall shot, the hook shot.
So now we got Tushin coming up here with Spirit. We see this all the time. I think more often than not on red side too out of Afrika. They love to come together, especially when Tushin plays these tanky supports and just lay down that deep vision in the red side. And okay, Faker's going to get locked up again. The flag and drag. He does flash, but there's the Cataclysm. Will there be a follow-up? Tanky is the Galio, but he will go down in the end. And that's Faker now at 0-2.
Great timing there from Kuro. As soon as he casts Silence, Faker recognizes it. Okay, uses his own dash to get away from it, but immediately decides to use another grasp on it. And with the collapse from Marin, who now has pressure in this lane, Afrika's poised to take a tier 1 in under 15 minutes without the use of Rip Herald.
Afrika showing up big tonight and really just pouncing on SKT's mistakes. You know, we can definitely point out all the mistakes, but Afrika making the best of it. And
we know they can close, right? We know they can close, but can they do 2 games in a row? It's still early to say for this one, as SKT scaling Caitlyn, Galio with Lulu is going to be always a threat. But so far, Afrika has been making proactive moves around the map and reading what SKT is trying to do and responding well.
See Pang bullying down here in the bot lane with the help of Wolf. And you could see that Afrika, they were thinking about maybe going for the Cloud Drake, but again, it's just a Cloud Drake, and they did get the mid tier 1. Got to be careful not to get too greedy. Rift Herald still does remain.
Spirit will not find the controller that Faker placed long before, but he does have mobility boots, and it's a difficult task to account for the speed at which an Elise with mobility boots can catch you. She gets increased speed from her spider form. The mobility boots means that she's just even swifter, and on top of the range in which she can gank, she's one of the strongest threats in the game. It's a great pick and solo queue for that.
Oh, look at this. Kuro turning it around. The heroic entrance, but Peanut, he's ticking down. That's going to be another kill going over to Afrika off the back of an outplay there by Kuro onto Peanut. Now look at this. Coming up is Tushin and Kramer. Faker in a really bad spot. Nice taunt, but he will go down again. 0-3 is the Faker. Cataclysm comes down onto Wolf. No flash onto this Lulu. And SKT is being swept off of the Rift right now.
Wow. He just got Syndra. Lee Sin tries to go for Kuro. He does still have his flash, and while Galio wasn't quite in range to follow up, commits to it and gets 100-0 off the attempt on the blue buff invade, and immediately the rotation from Tusin's Abyssal Voyage brings in Kramer, the teleport from Marin. The collapse is just something that SKT was not accounting for. You were talking about Tusin and Spirit going into the red side jungle together, setting up that vision. Those wards that they set up allow the teleport to come in from Marin, and we'll take another look right here. No protection there on Kramer, just gets voided out. He tried to flash for the save, but the teleport from Marin is already here. Abyssal Voyage is committed to the play, and this is just all too easy for Afrika to clean this up.
SKT really trying to go deep, really looking for those kills. Peanut perhaps going a little bit too deep, baiting his team into this one, and a perfect response out of Afrika. And you mentioned that Dark Seal on the Elise. We got 7 stacks already on the 2-0-3 Elise for Spirit. And Malzahar coming into LCK 3-0-3.
And Malzahar is similar to Syndra, where as a laner, Malzahar is never your biggest threat. It's easy to read when he's going to engage on you. You can always stay far. He doesn't have crazy moves. Unless his flash is up, he's never going to catch you by surprise. But as a jungler, where your itemization can't be proper to respond to the Malzahar's 100-0 potential, where you're always thinking about something else and your range against him is never as linear as it is standing in the lane. He's always a huge threat to you, and Kuro plays full advantage of that, and it deletes Peanut.
Well, we have SKT committing to the Cloud Drake. We don't see any response out of Afrika. It looks like the bot lane is coming in for a couple of wards, but I think they'll be happy to just give that one up.
But Afrika is going to be even happier for this. Now that it's an Infernal Dragon coming up next, if they can get control back in the jungle, that means that they'll be poised to get a much more valuable dragon 6 minutes from now. However, the reason why SKT go for that dragon is there's no advantages for them to take right now. Committing for a push into the bottom lane will likely result in them getting killed as they are behind in gold. And going for Rift Herald is too risky. So the only advantage that they can really grab is going to be that Cloud Dragon, which it might end up helping them out in the future. It's something that, while you don't see the immediate returns, it's at least an advantage.
Something small to slowly bring them back into this one.
Like when you're hungry and you just have a couple nuts to get yourself ready for the future, like almonds.
Just a couple of nuts, Crumbs?
Yeah.
Let's see. Not my snack of choice, but
really,
you know, to each their own.
You don't.
I don't judge. It's okay if you want to just have a couple of nuts before you go to bed. It's fine.
Almonds are great for you. Walnuts are too.
It's true. Well, Faker, this doesn't look too good for him as Abyssal Voyage is coming in. He commits to the flash, and it looks like he will get out with the heroic entrance, or in this case, the heroic exit, although it wasn't all that heroic.
They do trade a power in return, and a positive gain for SKT. Burning only the flash out of Faker and the ultimate when they're not in a position to make any moves still results in them getting the gold that is much needed, especially when it starts getting funneled into that Caitlyn, getting that lane farm bottom side. So Faker going with a worthy sacrifice, but you saw the quickness at which Afrika reacted to that. Tucson, you were saying how his KDA is at 17. Well, we're starting to see why. He's hard to kill, and he's fast on the trigger finger.
Oh boy, there's not too much vision in here for SKT. They do not see this one coming. Peanut gonna get locked down, and nothing can save him at this point. That's going to be our resident Lee Sin going down once again. And Afrika seems like they don't really want to go for this Rift Herald.
They need to get control of the lanes first. You gotta push out the lanes before they set it up. They haven't seen anybody on the map. They just see Caitlyn. Wow.
Okay, Wolf trying to lay down that vision that I said was desperately needed. Looks like he will escape with the help of the heal from Bang.
And he also has to burn his exhaust, and this gives Kramer some time into the top side, and they might be able to get down this turret as Caitlyn and Lulu are not too close on this. There are 2 TPs available, but only really deep ward in the red side jungle. So instead, they'll take the opportunity to start the Rift Herald with Marin taking control over the mid lane in case backup is necessary.
That should be an easy take for them. Huni does have his teleport, but I don't think SKT is really in a spot where they can challenge this. So another big objective going over to Afrika. Generally the objective that's pretty easy to take on blue side, but not when you're this far behind.
And now they have to think about how they're going to grow their lead, because these outer turrets are not going to be enough for them. They need to accelerate the game faster. You do not want to be facing Caitlyn with Galio and Lulu in the late game, so they need to go for a tier 2 specifically. If they can crack the tier 2 into the mid lane, this means that their vision around Baron post 20 minutes will be even deeper and can buy you more time when it comes down to rushing an objective, which you can do easily with all the percent damage between Malzahar and Elise. Even though I think Malzahar's damage isn't quite percent as it got moved to the ultimate, between his Voidlings and his incredible base stats, it really burns it down.
Huni's chilling in the brush here, and it seems like they did see him there at the end. Tushin coming on in. Does land the tongue lash, but Huni here alone. You could see Faker is rotating down, but it looks like he'll just recall.
Things going on to the mid lane for SKT, and it is fancying going behind. The wave clear from Kura is tremendous to say the least, though, and Galio is still debating whether he wants to assist in the mid lane or the bottom lane. They will lose the bottom lane from that indecisiveness, and so Afrika walk away with another objective. And 1 minute and 40 seconds from now, that Infernal Dragon comes online, and that's an objective that these teams are gonna fight for.
Well, Faker, you can see he's getting tanky now, even though he is 0-3-0. Does pick up a couple of items from here, has the Merc Treads. Makes it a lot easier to survive against the Malzahar Elise combination.
He is tanky, but the times that we have seen Galio go down is always 1v5, and nobody better to make a champion look like they're 1v5ing than Kuro's Malzahar. There are no QSSs online from anybody or even semblances of it yet, and I like that from SKT. They recognize that they're in a position where they need to build damage if they want to have a fighting chance in this game, which means that Kuro's Flash ultimate is going to be that much more powerful.
We saw a bit of a zoom in onto Kramer, who is helping out pushing the lanes. He is a little bit behind in the CS comparatively to Bang, but Zaya with the Essence Reaver going to have that Featherstorm up a lot.
Well, he has participated in a couple of rotations there, taking the Abyssal Voyage from Tucson and the Red Side Invade as well, so understandably so for him to be behind in CS. The levels are still the same, and I've always wondered, is Kramer's name a reference to Seinfeld?
Well, Crumbs, you're in luck. They're here in the studio. You can ask them later.
I sure will. I really will.
Could be. I'm not sure how popular Seinfeld was here in Korea, but it could also just be his name. Kramer Kim.
All right, well, that could be the case. They will start off the Infernal, and SKT choosing not to fight it. They have no vision, and they're not strong enough to do this right now. So it gets taken down quickly, and the Dragons are all in the favor of exactly what Africa needs right now, where they just took the Infernal down, and a Mountain Dragon will come up next, and that will help them take down this Dragon when it hits that 30-minute mark. They're still powerful enough to solo out the Baron. My bad. And here it comes. Yes. Exactly what we were talking about. Use that Rip Herald on the tier 2. It's already super low, and there's actually nobody there to defend. So,
oh, they're going to take it out first.
Wow,
so the big charge is going to happen if they stay.
That's really anticlimactic, actually. The turret was so low already.
Okay. I mean, we've seen some bad Rift Heralds, but hold that thought. Huni getting away with the hook shot for now, but we do have the Abyssal Voyage coming in with Kuro. A flash away from Huni. And Kuro, he's coming in. The hook shot, though. Here comes Spirit from the left side. There is the Cocoon into the blasting cone. And that's going to do it. Finally, they pick up this Huni, who was running away for quite a while, but will not escape with his life.
Marin thought the Cataclysm would interrupt the hook shot. Unfortunately, it did not. Gets away easily. Has to blow his flash, and Kuro unfortunately tried to burn his flash to take that kill, but that kill onto Huni would not have resulted in any advantages from Africa gain, as Baron is still not an objective that can just force that easily. So an advantage that would not have normally been there. They were able to trade that tier 2 in the bottom lane for the tier 1 middle, so good for SKT to trade that objective, but Africa's response needs to now be focusing on the side lanes alternatively with your Abyssal Voyage, again catching out the split pushers, and here we go again. Hook shot does not get cancelled by the Cataclysm, and here comes Kuro. Not in range. I love this cheeky move right here, though. Sees he's about to hit the blast cone. Just get him out of here.
Really
Gets
nice.
Killed in the trees.
Yeah. You gotta hide the body in the trees, man. Don't want to let them find that Camille later on. And
Jesus.
really nice Cocoon, too.
You thought about this.
You could say I'm prepared.
Don't tell me more.
We'll just leave it at that. No vision in here for SKT.
They know Peanut's not here, and this is going down too quickly. They're going to be able to easily get this out. SKT just diddly-daddling around the mid lane, not prepared for this objective, and oh, go Scott.
Okay, here comes Peanut. No, it's not going to happen. He gets locked down. Merc Treads will help for now, and that is one big Galio. And it does look like Africa was thinking about taking that fight, but after the disengage and lots of stuff used by SKT, they'll just run away with their Baron.
Well played there from Africa. Now they have the big objective to push down their advantage, start cracking some base turrets. It's going to be tough. Only Jarvan will likely be in a position to take a side lane turret for a base tower between the Caitlyn traps, and now that she has a QSS, it becomes exponentially more difficult. So they're going to have to get some creative vision and rotations if they really want to get a tier 3, as now they find themselves without that Rift Herald.
You can see Huni doing his best to try to clear out the wave and make this worse, but really nice Cocoon from Spirit. Unfortunately, there is no follow-up. Kuro still no flash, no Nether Grasp. And he's actually in the bot lane, so.
So looks like they are positioning themselves for that tier 2 into the bottom side. They're going to get all the vision coverage in this red side so that they can get the inside track onto the lane. Tucson and Spirit with the buddy system once again, clearing out vision together. Standard stuff overall. If they pull this off right, then within the next couple of minutes, they should be able to get this turret. But SKT is not in a position to wait there. Galio is nowhere to be found. Chunk damage still going down, and the turret will go easy as 1, 2, 3.
Afrika continuing the push for now. Looking for more. Really trying to clear out this wave as fast as possible, even smiting a couple of the minions.
There is no chance they can go through this, and they are going to have to go for a dive if they really want this turret. There is no long-range engage here, but Camille is just still pushing into the mid lane. They don't want to fight this for any reason. They're not prompting Afrika to go for a dive without any range. They're just giving up an inhibitor turret for free, and Afrika just fully flexing in front of SKT, and they're not taking any chances.
SKT saying, okay, you can have this objective. We know that we can't win a fight right now. We'll just let you have it. Kind of not what we expect usually, but perhaps it's the right idea. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, they're so far behind right now.
I figured they would try to stall out the wave just a little bit more. However, that does funnel more gold into them, and they're just playing off the timing. They're not comfortable taking the fight by any means right now, and if they were to have lost a fight there, they would have lost the game. There is Baron still up, so it's understandable for them to do it, just uncharacteristic of SKT.
Yeah, definitely a good point. So I feel like they're playing to their position in this game right now. See if it pays off for them. Baron will end pretty soon. Still got about 38 seconds on it. You can see Afrika's kind of joining up. A couple of pings onto the last tier 2 turret remaining up in the top lane.
They're going to play the exact same card when they go for this tier 2 top side, and without the Baron, as it will run out in the next couple of minutes, it's unlikely that they'll be able to get that tier 3 and inhibitor as easily as they did that first time around. So we might just see them get the objective, go for a recall, base, acquire that new Mountain Dragon, and then go for what is going to be a new Baron. Here comes Marin joining in the fight, though.
Yeah, they're sticking around surprisingly. They don't have the Baron, as you said. They are grouped up as 5. Marin forced into a fight, and Huni will lock him up here. Faker with the follow-up. Marin eating so much damage, but he will survive for now. Does get away with his life. Faker still on the chase, but the Cocoon will put an end to that. Huni not able to follow up either.
Marin overstepping his boundaries there, not respecting that Kalista or Camille can lock you down with that Hextech ultimatum, and you can't get out. The follow-up from Baron, not enough. And the face of the mountain from Tucson secures Marin's life. They will now get that Mountain Dragon that was so critical, and that means that this next Baron is going to likely be their objective to try to seal the deal, and SKT have a timer, about 5 minutes until they actually have to take a fight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be about just funneling as much gold as possible into some of your carries. Try to have Bang carry from behind when they are down almost 10,000 gold. He does have a QSS. Sometimes we say when you're this far behind, you don't want to take a defensive item like that, but when you're going up against the hard CC engage out of a flash from a Malzahar, I think you just have to have that in your arsenal.
Yeah, if he gets taken out in a fight right away through the Galio shield, it's not going to be a one fight for SKT. So ultimatum comes out. Unfortunately, no damage members from SKT are quite there, but between Camille and Galio, see how quickly Jarvan dies. So SKT still have the damage there to take down individual members if they give the time of day to do so. However, Caitlyn stuck on wave clear duty, not able to follow up. At least they get the flash at Marin.
Small win. Still just holding on for dear life in this game. And I almost fully expect Afrika to win this game and then lose the second one because they're on this streak of inconsistency. Every series they've played has been 2-1 in one direction or another. And as I said before, the 4-game streak of winning the first game and losing the second game. Trying to make that 5 tonight, perhaps.
They're like a Neapolitan ice cream that always has a different order in their flavors. It's like, why are they changing it up? Just keep doing what was successful.
Well, they're going to be looking for the 2-0. They've been very strong on the blue side. I think they'll have a lot of fun when they do go into game 2.
Odd for them to take vision in the bottom side right now. Maybe thinking about the inhibitor when it comes back up. But Baron is in 45 seconds. I'd imagine that objective matters more to them. And see Peanut in the top side taking full advantage of the situation, trying to clear out any control wards he can find. And unfortunately for him, most of them are just regular green wards from Afrika. So not much vision denial coming out.
Even Wolf able to come up here, get one ward down. Should be cleared up, though, as we do have a couple of scanners about to get off cooldown. And into this fight, Marin just going to try to push in top lane a little bit more. Make the lanes a bit better in their advantage once they do go for this Baron.
10 seconds on the Baron. They haven't cleared the vision out. It just happened to right now. Lulu and Caitlyn are on the way, but Afrika isn't rushing. SKT, nowhere to be found. They're going to lose this one again.
Yeah, with the Mountain Drake, look at how much damage that Baron takes. That is unbelievable. No steal from Faker, although he does get a 4-man taunt. This might be their one time. Tushin taking a lot of damage to gray health, though. Faker still alive, gets another gigantic taunt, and SKT looking to take this game back. Let's see if they can do it. They're 3 kills already. There's going to be the 4th. Kuro still on the run. The last member left with that Baron. And here comes Huni. There's the ace from SKT.
Are you serious? How do they keep doing this? Oh my god, they lose the Baron right away, but they're all stuck in the pit, and Faker and the Baron against MVP. He was the hero in the Baron pit. He gets so many huge taunts, and knock up on his ultimate, just keeping everybody in the pit, and nobody goes on Bang. They keep focusing on using the Nether Grasp onto Peanut, but the taunt immediately cancels it, and SKT now in full, like, what?
The game just blew wide open, ladies and gentlemen. They have their bottom inhibitor back. There's no Baron on anyone on the side of Afrika. They all got ace. The double 4-man taunt by Faker, who started this game 0-3 and is now coming back in a big way for his team.
And this is huge because it buys them so much time. You saw what Afrika did with the first Baron. Okay, they stalled out, they took an inhibitor. It wasn't enough to crack the base. You cannot crack the base in sieging that easily, but this time around, here comes that Faker taunt. Immediately Nether Grass comes in, but the 4-man taunt. And Caitlyn's just free hitting this entire time. Here she goes, just laying down traps. Here comes Camille, but then the knockup. Caitlyn keeps attacking.
3-man.
It's just so simple for them. Camille targets Xayah right away, and now without Xayah, there's not enough damage. Everybody's in the back, taunted again by Faker. Just cleaning, shooting fish in the barrel for them.
Perfect play, basically, from Faker. The 4-man flash taunt into the heroic entrance, triple knockup into another 4-man taunt.
But Afrika had flashes this entire time. You saw the first Baron. They respected, okay, we don't have to take the fight. We can just get out. Instead, they chose to try to stop the fight. I know that the Faker taunt kept them there, but they could have still gotten out. The fight lasted long enough. Instead, they chose to fight, and SKT capitalized beautifully, and now they have a new lease on life.
They definitely gave themselves a chance in this one. They still are behind. Okay, we got another engage coming in here. The heroic entrance as one member. Looks like Huni was locked up for a very long time. Now Ben getting pretty low. This time Faker gets another big taunt, but now Marin going into the back line looking for those carries, but the polymorph for so long. These 2 big tanks going 1v4 for so long. And it looks like at the end of it all, Afrika will come out on top. Huni did have his Guardian Angel popped too. Will be forced to back off.
And the peel was so well played there from SKT between Huni, Peanut, and Wolf, recognizing how low Bang was with the AoE damage. They back away. They make sure that Marin can't one-shot Caitlyn, and they try to keep him alive as long as possible. He does get that final auto in the end, and now Afrika will be able to walk away with the same inhibitor they cracked down earlier, but this will only mean an inhibitor once again, and that Cloud Dragon, a 35-minute Cloud Dragon. They still have to wait for that next Baron before they think about cracking the turret, and SKT's Caitlyn will only get stronger from here.
Tushin spitting Kramer over the wall. Let's see. We got the Elder Drake coming up next. About 6 minutes. So no big objectives right now. Let's take another look at this fight.
So Nether Grass gets used right away, comboed into the heroic entrance, and Peanut's looking for a cool kick here, but Bang steps up a little too forward, gets hit in the AoE, and look at how they play the peel against Marin. Immediate knockup, immediate Hexic ultimatum into the flash, the trap, just everything, but Bang oversteps, gets a little too greedy, and does end up getting taken out by the Cataclysm.
Look at this, Huni trying to escape again, will not happen as Kuro locks him down with that Nether Grasp.
Not sure what he's doing on that side of the map. Probably just pushing out the lane, trying to stall out the creep wave as much as possible. Luckily for them, it is in the bottom side, which means that it is a marathon to get to the objectives that Africa want to take now. And you saw that Bang took advantage of Huni's overextending, pushing out the top side. And Africa now have 30 seconds to reestablish control into their lanes, get more control around Baron when it comes up next. And now we got ourselves a game, a real late game.
And as you said, this will eventually favor SKT. They are still behind, about 6,500 gold.
While it favors them from the Caitlyn, we thought the same when it was Africa versus Rocks Tigers, where they had the Renekton in the late game, but Marin just made it work. This team seems impervious to what a scaling composition means and what it does. They play team fights out quite well themselves, and if Marin can zone out Bang, if they can just eliminate Caitlyn from these fights while not taking too much damage themselves, they'll be in a great position.
While we have a little bit of a lull in this game, I want to point out that Spirit, he bought 3 control wards, placed them all in certain, locations in the red side jungle, and then replaced them 3 in a row, just trying to push forward that vision and make sure SKT had no vision. Then he went back and bought 3 more, and he's looking to do the same thing once again.
At this stage in the game, it's chump change for him. An extra item on your 6-item supportive Elise does not mean anything, and as such, it's completely understandable for him to do that, as prioritizing vision and the chances of you getting a pick in the later stages in the game or getting a better position for your carries or your tanks in a fight will matter way more than him having, say, a Zhonya's or a GA. Or now it would be...
It's very true. Look at this. There's no vision. No follow-up, though, here. And actually, Huni wants to fight this. He's going on to Spirit, the heroic entrance. Africa looking to disengage here. Marin taking a little bit of chip damage on the escape. Will they be able to turn this around? It looks like SKT doesn't want to go in. And will just back off.
They get Kuro's flash. That can matter as Baron comes up in 40 seconds. And while Bang does have his QSS, without having Kuro's summoner, not only does he become a much more vulnerable target, but his engage and ability to find somebody out of position just goes down the drain.
Look at this. Bang stepping up big time, trying to chip away at Kuro's health. Takes a bit of damage himself, but he's got that lifesteal, whereas Kuro will not.
That signature Bang for you, engaging with an AD carry, knowing that he has protection and safety between Lulu, his QSS, and own heal, that Kuro just can't turn on him, and as such, chunks him out and forces a recall from Africa, and this buys SKT time to get the Scuttle Crab. This advantage means that they can have more time to buy out the wave in the bottom lane, get your vision again, establish your position, and this is a Caitlyn that is almost at a completed itemization. Only Mercurial Scimitar is really left for her.
We're reaching that 40-minute stage of the game where everybody who was in a solo lane or was a carry down in bot will be at about 6 items. Look at this again with the QSS. Will force the repel from Spirit, who is incredibly low, and Bang, as you said, he's getting near that full item Caitlyn, looking to take this game into his own hands.
And now that he burned QSS for that, he's going to be paying his thank yous to Peanut, because he was the one that was able to pop Kuro's flash. And had Kuro had flash right now, they would have had no qualms with forcing a Baron fight, just flash onto Bang and take him out immediately. But now that there's no flash on Kuro, their play still remains the same. They have to be cautious around this objective and always respect Bang.
Yep. At the same time, though, because that poke damage came out, they force Africa back, so some vision going over to SKT. You can see Africa trying to engage here. The Baron has spawned.
They can rush it. They do have that Mountain Dragon on their side, and there is no vision for SKT, but they respect it this time around. They won't make the same mistake twice.
Look at SKT. They push in the bot lane. They push in the middle lane as well. They're forcing Africa into a fight. But Afrika doesn't seem to have the option here. Marin, he's going to get jumped on. There's the kick. And even though Peanut's going to be locked down, the heroic entrance will save his life. Marin somehow at the same time to survive. But look at this in the bot lane. Huni looking to take that inhibitor turret.
He's got the Gargoyle Stone play, so he's really hard to kill. But SKT just toying with Afrika. Are you going to start Baron or are you going to answer the call? As long as Marin isn't there, they can't decide. They don't have the tools to engage anymore. And SKT capitalize and get an inhibitor turret out of that, and if they can do that one more time, this could be an inhibitor, but Huni has to base, he doesn't have enough mana, and SKT poised to take these fights if they keep playing the way they are.
I love what they're doing here, the tenacity of SKT to stick around in this game, and look at how much Bang is chunking down Spirit in these fights, these more squishy targets on the side of Afrika. Nobody's safe from the gun of Caitlyn right now.
And it's the late game Elise. All you are is a cocoon. The damage just isn't really there. She has to respect the range that she's at. Anytime that they get chunked, the health advantage that goes towards SKT is too much. Every inch matters in these late game fights.
Faker does have a splash.
Here's the TP.
Okay, the TP coming on in, and Marin looking for the big three-man knockup. Bang will be safe in the back line, but look at that, Faker with no support, nobody able to get close enough. He will go down. Right now it is 5 versus 4. Now Huni is the target. Will eat up Marin here is Tushin, but again, they lost Faker. They don't have that big engage. They don't have those taunts. SKT looking to respond to Baron by perhaps going to Elder Drake.
SKT getting a little bit cocky there. Faker, again, he dies in a 1v5. It's that Nethergrass that takes out your Galio immediately, but they're not going to give this Elder without a fight. Marin's in position, and there is Abyssal Voyage.
Oh, they're coming on in. Look at Bang in the back. Will he get taken out? Yes, he will. The Cataclysm does take him down in the end. And SKT, they're looking for something in this game, but Afrika doesn't want to give them anything. Now Huni will have his GA popped. There's no support for him. Wolf will eventually go down. And with the death timer so long, Afrika could look to end this game.
That has to be it. They don't have the wave clear. Caitlyn's not there. It's the only person they have to respect. Afrika surely will finish the game here.
Wow, look at that. This game, it's been flipped over so many times, going from one direction to the other, but Afrika sticking in it. As I was complimenting SKT in the beginning here. And now Faker trying to go 1v4 again on this Galio with the help of Peanut. See if they can do that, but Marin's coming back, and Faker will be taken out. With only Peanut left alone, it looks like that will be game number 1, going over to the Afrika Freaks.
Could this be it? Have we been liberated from Afrika's inconsistency, and they've found their traction against SKT? It's still game 1 for them, though. It's still game 1. Why is it such a curse?
What did I say? I fully expected them to take this one and then lose game 2, but I hope that perhaps I can be proven wrong tonight.
That was a great game. That was a great game. Afrika played early game well. The collapses, using Malzahar to gain advantages, and Tucson was stellar. The rotations from him.
Yeah.
I think you could give him or Kuro are my MVPs for this time around. Just playing so well. The entire team playing the macro game well, and SKT overstepping their bounds over and over. There are looks of confusion on the side of pretty much all of them.
Yeah, this isn't what you're used to seeing when you look in the SKT booth. Huni looks the most perplexed out of all of them.
They're disjointed. That final engage, they thought they were at a position where Galio could tank and Caitlyn could dish out free damage, but you needed to protect Caitlyn more. It was only the fights where Caitlyn was successful, and this is the early game where a dive was somewhat read from the side of Afrika, and then Huni does fail his hook shot or wall shot and does end up dying 2 for 2, and this is the big one for me, where Kuro outplays Peanut, refreshes that Malefic Visions. Galio commits to being in there, but there's a teleport already on the way from Marin. There's an Abyssal Voyage bringing everybody in, and that's a 3 for 0 advantage in the opposing side jungle without preparation on your lane. So the advantages that Afrika got from this, they barely let go. Their grasp was loosening when it came down to cracking down the base, but in the end, they played well. Yeah, that was... I want to get excited for them.
I want to get excited for Afrika as well, but they're turning into this team, you know.
But when
we gotta hold our breath for just one more game.
We have to wait until they play against the top team.
Well,
so you just got
I mean, you can try to predict who the MVP is going to be, but I feel like Spirit, in his own way, did a ton of small things, helping out with kills, with picks like that, just vision control on the Elise, the pressure in the top lane early on.
This was well played for SKT, protecting the Caitlyn. However, look at how Marin ends up playing it out. He dashes back in, fakes that he's going in, but you always forget about the flag. It's such a minor thing to think about on when these chaotic team fights happen, so many calls, but he was aware of it, takes full advantage of it, and uses Cataclysm to get back into the fight. And 28k damage off of Xayah, almost mirroring the 32 off of Bang.
Yeah. That's why I say, it's hard to choose the MVP. I feel like it was pretty much a team effort. Everybody on Afrika seems to be playing as a unit, down to the timings of the TPs, the Abyssal Voyages, as you're saying, the response to everything that SK tried to do. Afrika was always right there with the clapback. So, guys, that was game number 1, and that was an incredible game. So I hope you stick around with us. We're going to go to a small break before we get into game number 2.
Syndra and Rumble both were the same first bans last time around, and can expect the Renekton as well, and Tom Kent from Afrika actually. So they're saying more of this pick is just really strong, and we got lucky that we got it in that first rotation, but we're not going to let SKT get their hands on it. And I like it because this means that teams are starting to read the meta in a way where the champions are shared, and you have to give respect to teams like SKT that they can take new picks and apply it to themselves. The most famous one was last MSI, not this year, but the previous one, where Soraka, one of the most contested supports in North America, SKT says, we recognize your pick is powerful, and we'll have no difficulty in picking it up and applying it to our own strategy.
So, no hope of seeing both Galio Zac, as Afrika does ban out the Zac. We'll see if SKT wants to commit to the Galio ban, though.
They might feel comfortable giving it up. They have shown the Lucian and maybe tempt Afrika into playing it. Kuro has played it as well to success, so understandably so. They don't want to risk it. Elise will likely be the pick from Spirit, but the support that remains is Thresh. Last time around, we didn't get to see him as he was banned out, and it's fantastic synergy with Elise, so I expect SKT to want to take it away, even though it hasn't been Wolf's priority pick. And even in an interview, he has stated how he would like to have more practice on this pick, considering the viability that it has now reached.
It's a pretty sick picture right there. People really coming together, putting their artistic skills to work. And this time we're going to see Blanks Lee Sin. Peanut kind of mediocre in game number 1 on the pick, and still trying to decide if they will go for that Thresh. They were hovering the Braum instead.
It is going to be that Braum. Caitlyn still remains available. Last time we saw it with Bang, it just never got to the point where it was dealing enough damage. It has fantastic synergy with Braum, but it also works well with the 3 remaining ADs, which is Ashe, which has a bit better synergy than with the Varus, as the attack speed does help a lot in proccing the passive, but Varus will get taken away from Kramer, and it has been one of his favorite picks so far. Great setup with Elise, and another pick composition coming out from Afrika.
And we've seen a lot of Kramer on the Varus. I feel like pretty much every AD has been playing this pick a bunch. And the question is, will they want to pick up their own support? Will they go for that Thresh to have that combination, or will they pick up something else? The answer is Gragas.
They banned Gragas themselves that last game, so this time they have already locked it in, and it's likely to be that top lane pick. There are plenty of champions that can lane against Gragas available, as only Renekton and Rumble have been banned out. You have Fiora, Camille, even the Jarvan, just so many picks, and that's going to be the first Xayah coming out from Bang. Xayah Braum.
I think that sign said, "Senpai, wake up."
To whom?
I would assume that's towards Faker.
I think you could say that many players on SKT are other people's senpai, so I wouldn't be so quick to jump.
But he's the senpai, right? Like that is one of his many nicknames.
I think everyone's somebody's senpai. I
suppose you're right.
Are you someone, senpai?
I'm sure I am. Someone out there. I'm their senpai.
I was looking at this thread where one of the most difficult questions that you have ever thought of, it was, are you somebody's favorite person?
Interesting thought.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yeah, I would have to assume so, yeah.
Oh, you're so cocky.
Of course. What? Double support ban from SKT after Afrika does decide to go for the Gragas instead of going for their own support.
This could be Gragas support as well. It would be bold, but there's not a whole lot of physical damage on the side of Afrika yet, and you would think that to make this lineup work, they will need more physical threats. They recognize that last time around with the Jarvan combination, and it will be denied from Marin this time around, so they have a lot of early game power on the side of SKT as well. But what is Afrika going to respond with here? I really would not want to see more magic damage, as the itemization for magic resistance is going to be all too easy between Hex Drinkers, Mercurial Scimitars, and Mercury Treads. There just wouldn't be right.
Zyro, one of these supports that's left up for Afrika, but that last second change into Rakan and then back to Zyra.
You just get dazzled by Rakan's charm and then right back out.
He just wanted to have his 1/2 second of fame show his face, but we don't actually get to see him play.
Maybe it would be the Jace here. Not the greatest into Braum, as Unbreakable will stop the Shock Blast, but magic damage is not advised here, Afrika. Don't let us down in game 2. At least put up a fight. Oh.
That groan of disappointment out of Crumbs.
Well, they're going to have to play even faster than last time around. SKT, however, is matching their early game aggression with a composition that can go toe-to-toe early, and if they lock in this Karma, that will mean that pressure in the mid lane will be spread out evenly. One Mantra Q on the back line will be enough to dissipate the entire minion wave as the game goes on, but we've seen the builds that Faker goes for on Karma, and most of them do. It's quite supportive with Athene's Holy Grail as a likely first item, as you're dealing with 2 magic damage threats. But hopefully we see some AP damage later, as opposed to the Ardent Sensor, which, while it does have the Aether Wisp in it, you do not say it's an AP item. It's a support item. You're going full-on helping mode.
Yeah, definitely like to see him go for a bit more damage. Although if he is going to play around that bang, perhaps they do just want to support the Xayah.
This was going to be explosive as hell. Both these comps have no business in the late game. They're all about fighting early, finding picks, and accelerating for objectives. So Herald, Dragons, Turrets, Dives, they can both do similar things, and it's going to be a matter of execution. Last time SKT took the first attempt on the dive into the bottom lane, which was botched hideously, but now they have no Peanut, no Huni, which were 2 of the members that kind of failed that attempt. So with Blank and Nuntara, maybe they can find some new excitement and adrenaline to pump into this team and get the execution right. And this time around, Afrika will have the comp to match that early aggression.
Very interesting here. A lot on the line for both of these teams. Afrika looking to prove a lot in the second game. They want to break that spree of always losing their second game, and they want to take the 2-0 against SKT. And SKT getting stomped in game 1, trying to come back, but then eventually losing the game, looking to keep that top spot to themselves. Let's see how it goes down in game number 2 between these 2 teams. Here we go. If you got a friend who's not watching this game and he likes League of Legends, go ahead and get him in the stream.
Even if they don't like League of Legends, just put him in here. Force them to watch
the stream.
It's like when you go to a friend's house. Hey, let me show you all these cool videos, and you sit there awkwardly. Oh God, when's this video gonna finish?
He's like chuckling beside you. You're like, do I?
Did you like it? Let me show you the recommended ones, and then it just keeps going.
And it never ends.
I had a party one time when somebody is like, I'll show you a 12-minute video. It's like going to karaoke.
At a party.
And It's a different kind of party. And you go to karaoke and then some, I'm not going to say the word, but if you go to karaoke, you do not pick Bohemian Rhapsody. That is not an acceptable karaoke song. As fun as it is to sing, unless everybody's in on it, you are ruining the experience. It's a 7-minute long song that you're sitting there doing chorus and whatever sounds come out of your mouth by yourself. Involve everybody or don't do it at all. Karaoke 101.
You know what I hate more than Bohemian Rhapsody for that is actually Stairway to Heaven, because it's even longer and it's slower, and when everybody's, you know, a little bit tipsy and you're at karaoke, you're looking to have fun, don't put on the super boring long song with the giant solo at the end. Just don't do it. Hotel California is like a little bit better, but also you gotta mind the big solo at the end.
Or just pick songs that are meant to be sang along with you.
It's true.
Such as Say My Name. Destiny's
Yeah,
Child. Definitely a good one. Well, junglers will be mirroring each other once again with Elise and Lee starting red buff or red side. Elise will finish top side, and if they can balance out this wave from pushing out, they could have an opportunity to gank Untara, but he's taken full control of this minion wave so far, so it is unlikely for him to be in a position to get ganked early game. Meanwhile, Blank will return to the Raptor camp, and that will mean that he's going to be in the top side, and we might see some battles over this Scuttle Crab.
Spirit not going there yet, just going over to the Wolves. Want to clear that out. For this game, we do have a starting Mountain Drake, which will be very, very nice for either of these early game-focused teams to pick up and helping them take down turrets, take other objectives.
And as you mentioned, these dragons just make the game that much more exciting because these two teams don't have any siege. They're all about fighting for the objectives. And if you give one of them the opportunity to rush down a Baron or find a quick siege onto a tower, this means that the game will become even more explosive.
Well, not too much happening here in the beginning of the game. Saw a nice ping there from Kuro saying, okay, I know where the ward is, just based off of Faker moving out of lane for the exact amount of time it takes to put the ward down.
Yeah, there's that ping onto the doubles as well that spotted out Blank correctly. I believe that was more of an intuition guess based off prior information.
No root there from Tushin. Actually does miss that, and they're trying to almost bait this as we do have Blank coming down the lane. Wolf eating a bunch of damage, but nothing can be done.
Good read there from SKT. They thought about maybe baiting it a little bit, waiting for Blank to make it down the lane. A counter gank would be a huge threat, but Afrika have to respect that there are double teleports on SKT's side, and 2 TPs will always matter when it comes down to the bot lane fights. How many times have we seen teams go for 5-man dives or use Gallier and as many tools as possible to just obliterate your AD carries? It's countless, and when you have to remember the double teleports, it's such a rare summoner to take so many times that people will forget about it and almost always pay with their lives.
Got pretty morbid there at the end. Oh, it's definitely true.
It's the ultimate price.
Yeah. I love how Tushin, every single time Bang moves up to take a creep, he's always there threatening the root. He's like, okay, if you want to get this creep, you better be good at dodging my root because I'm going to be there threatening it, throwing it out every single time, especially on the cannons, particularly.
It's like good synergy. And speaking of synergy, 2 games in a row where Spirit goes for the early mobility boots, just going full gank mode. There is an opportunity in the top side, but Blank is just escorting Untara around the wave, making sure he can push the wave out safely. So any opportunities for Spirit are likely to come from perhaps mid lane before magic resistance comes online, or maybe a dive into the bottom side, as once levels start coming through without much trading into the top side, killing Jarvan is not the easiest.
Looking for that root again. You can see the poke coming out of Tushin, playing very far forward, especially when you're playing against this melee support. Very hard for Wolf to answer back early on.
Look at that ping. They're reading blank like a book. A ping onto the Wolf camp. 3 seconds later, he's queuing onto the Wolf. So Afrika just have great intuition here, and it shows. And they have an advantage that was just acquired with Untara teleporting into the top side. But instead of going for a dive themselves, they simply choose to match the teleport top side, keep pressure into the lanes. So nothing crazy happening into the bottom lane.
Yeah, not this time. Definitely. Okay, we got a bit of a fight here. The trade coming down with the Cask and the Cataclysm, but both members in the top lane are very healthy still. Very even in health.
We know what build is going to come out of Marin here. We've seen this one before. It was in their game against Rock.